We are going to use Excel in order to find some numerical descriptors of the data that we have collected. So here I have collected some age data. I have already sorted it in age order, which if it's not sorted, you can highlight it and you can sort from smallest to largest or largest to smallest. Mine was really already sorted, but if it hadn't been, I could do that. Now there are different descriptors, numerical descriptors we like to find. One of them we like to find is called the mode. And to find the mode, this is really the reason I would want to put them in order for the mode and the median, is the one that happens the most. So I can look along there, I can see two of them happen. If you want to kind of highlight them, you can, so that you can see, okay, okay, here's some 48s, there's 3 of them. This is not a very large list of data. So I don't really need much effort to see which ones occur the quickest, but it looks like 48 is the one that occurs the most. So I am going to type in my 48 there. I can come back and I can unhighlight that if I want, though it doesn't really matter whether it's highlighted or not. So no fill. So I have that data, the mode, like I said, it's just the one that occurs the most frequent. So when they're in order and grouped, that is the easiest to find. Now the median is the middle one. So since they're in order, and these are actually starting up in cell 1, so I can see that there's 20 of them, but I can always highlight and count, and the count shows up here in the left corner while I'm highlighting. And if I highlight too many of them, notice that it comes down here. See where it says 23 rows, 22 rows. So I can use that to count them if I don't have them going neatly numbered from 1 to 20 like I do here. So there are 20 of them. So half of 20 is 10. So this would be the middle mark right here. And I'm going to just use this bottom border to split it. So there's 10 above and there's 10 below. So if I have an even number of them like this, I just average these two numbers. So 35 and 36 divided by 2 is going to give me 35.5. Now, if I had an odd number of them, then I would not need to split it and do the average. So if, for example, the 17 wasn't there, I would have 19 of them. Half of 19 is 9.5. So I would go to 9 and notice the 36 is not included. I could count from the bottom and notice I can count 9 and the 36 is not included. So if it's an odd number, you just count half, ignoring the 0.5, and that would be the mode. The median, halfway in between. So that is how we can use it to find the median, just putting it in order. Of course, the range, you can do the high minus the low. So the range, and you can actually type in here an equal sign for formula. So let's put the highest one. I just click on it, and then I hit a minus, and I'm just going to click on the lowest one. So it's actually putting a formula in there for me, the highest one minus the lowest one, and it does the arithmetic for me. I could also then find the mid-range. So notice the mid-range is the average of the high and the low. So I could put in here equals, and to average them, I need a parenthesis. So I'm going to do the low plus the high, close my parentheses, and then put the slash and divide by 2. So I'm adding the highest and the lowest and dividing by 2, and that's giving me the mid-range. Now, what about the mean? The mean is the average that we get from adding all of them and dividing by how many there are. So I can highlight them all, and over here I have auto sum, and I click on auto sum, and it gives me the total of all of these. I want to make sure that it is including all of them. So let me make sure it doesn't think I have data in the headers. I don't. So it is including all of them. Now, how many were there? There were 20 of them. I had counted that earlier. So I'm going to go in here up in the formula line. I see equals the sum of all those, and I'm going to put slash, that means divide by 20. And now I have the mean is 36.75. Now I'm going to show you in a few minutes if you have the data analysis pack added in to your Excel, how you can get these numbers a little quicker. But assuming you don't have the data analysis pack inserted, and maybe you're using Excel at a place where it's not available for you to put it in, like not on your own computer. Sometimes if you're at a library or some other facility using theirs, you don't have the administrative rights to add things in. So how could we do this just using the formula? Well, we know the formula for the standard deviation, which is what we're trying to find, the variance and the standard deviation, variance and standard deviation. So we know the formula is to take each of these and to subtract the mean from it. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to put equal, and I'm going to highlight this cell and minus the mean 36.75. And that subtracted it for me. So now I got to do that for all of these. Well, I don't actually have to type for all of those, because I can click on that one, and as I move my mouse, see in the corner, I get this little black plus. Here I get the plus going everywhere. That means I can just move the whole thing around. I want the little black plus in the corner, and then I can drag and it will repeat the formula for me. So now notice I can come down to this one and click, and I look up here and I see the formula A10. Here's A10. And if I actually click in it, it highlights it. So I can see that this blue one down here is highlighted, and it's blue up here in the formula, so I can see where it came from, minus the 36.75. So it did that, minus 36.75 for all of these. I did not have to do it by hand. I am now going to highlight all of them and add them. Oops, that's not what the formula says. What does the formula say? They get squared. So I'm going to square them. So let's do equals this one, and the times is the asterisk, which is above the 8, and then times itself. So that's a way of squaring it. There is another way I can do that as well, as I can put equals and then that, and then I can put in here the little caret that's above the 6, and I can square it that way. So you have either option for squaring this one, multiplying it by itself, or putting the little 2 up there to the 2 power. So the little caret means to the 2 power. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab the little plus sign and bring it down. So there's all of them squared. So notice if I click down here, that one is B7. Column B, row 7, squared. And so I've got all of them. Now the formula says, add them up. Whoops, I'm not hitting the add, hit the sum, and I've summed them all. Now remember, there's a difference in the formula for the variance depending on whether you have the data from a survey or the data from a population. So is it census data or just a sample data? So if it's sample, remember you would have to divide by 1 less. So if this is sample data, I would divide this by 19. If this is population data and I want the population mean, I would divide it by 20. So I come up here in the formula line and put the slash, and if I put 20, that gives me the population. So I'm going to come in here and write the word population since it's different. And I'm going to actually just kind of make this smaller. It's right next to it. So the population variance and mean. So this is 186 approximately. And I can be more accurate. I can actually copy as many of these decimal places as I wanted here. The standard deviation, I'm going to come here and I'm going to say equals this number. Well, I don't want it that number. I want the square root. So I'm going to put SQRT. And notice as I start to do it, it tells me the square root of a number. So what do I want the square root of? I want the square root of this. And I need to actually put in parentheses. So square root and close the parentheses. So it needs the parentheses to know what that is. And notice it's about 13.6. So that would be the standard deviation. The population standard deviation, because I divided this by 20. If I wanted the sample, remember I would have divided it by 19, one less than that. Now, if you want the, if you do have the data pack installed, and notice I'm just going to move this over here. You do have the data pack installed. You can go to a tab up here that says data. And here's my data analysis tools. It's an add-in, so you may have to add it in if you don't have it. You have several choices here, and I am going to go and pick the one that says descriptive statistics. And when I click OK, I get this box that wants to know the input range and see what input range it has over here. So I'm going to change it because I want to include all of these and see the green lines. I don't want to include that total I had there, just that data. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click output range. And I don't want the output range on top of the data. So I click into this little box and I pick where I want it to be. So I'm just going to click this box right here. Summary statistics is what we want. And when I do that, it figures out these statistics for me. Now notice all the words aren't showing up. So I'm going to go to this crack and double click and all of the words show up. I can actually click in here and change this and put it whatever I want, age data. So I have my age data. Notice the mean is 36.75, which is the same thing we had gotten here. Here's the standard error. Here's the median and the mode that we had gotten. Notice our standard deviation is different and the sample variance is different because this is sample. So notice this is sample. So this is sample standard deviation and sample variance. It also shows the kurtosis and the skewness if you're interested in those, the range, which is the same as what we got working that formula out, the minimum and the maximum, the sum, which was what we got when we add them all together. So that was over here. Remember before we put the 20 divided by the 20, remember we had 735 over there and the count was 20. So this is a way you can use Excel to find the numerical descriptions, either doing the formulas yourself, or if you have the add-in data analysis pack, then you can use the descriptive statistics option in the data analysis